Welcome to X Connection. Today we are talking about moving on after the loss of a relationship. We have Sheila, Kimberly, and Dave, and you're newly divorced.
I am. My divorce was just final in November, so just a couple of months ago.
Okay, and Kimberly, how about you?
Oh, I've been going through the process for quite a while, for a couple of years, but mine was final over a year ago, and so I'm sort of in the stage of what's next.
And Dave, you are too, right?
My divorce was final about 2 years ago. I was separated for about 3 years before that, so it's been 5 years now, and am moving on and am engaged again.
You know, we talk about moving on and what's healthy for us. How are you doing that?
I've been traveling a little bit. I've been doing some outdoorsy things like rock climbing and having just a lot of fun. I think saying yes to myself, not having to negotiate every little step in a relationship. There's some freedom there that actually is welcomed.
For me, it was really important for me to just sit with myself and see where the emotions were coming from and why they were arising, and just trying to be still with that. It was hard for me because I think it's human nature for all of us to just get caught up in the rat race and trying to fix everything and staying busy so you don't have to deal with those emotions.
So did any of you do anything really stupid when the relationship ended?
I did an enormous amount of stupid things and a fair number of really beneficial things, and some things that were probably not a good idea actually didn't hurt anything, like throwing yourself into work too much is okay for a while, that works, and doing too much business travel in a way, that works too.
You know, a lot of times we do things that we think are stupid at the time and look back and go, actually, I learned a lot from that. Anything like that?
One of the things I did was end up in a long distance relationship, which at the time which is not really a great idea, except it worked out. So my fiance and I, when we first started dating, lived 2,500 miles away from each other. So yes, stupid things can work out too.
So there's all different ways to go about it. I have a friend who says she's on the 4-man plan, which means she will date like 4 guys at a time. And that way somebody's always available and she never gets too attached to anyone. How about you guys?
Some girlfriends and I who were going through the same process, we obviously did some stupid things while traveling and partying and having fun. We coined a term called catch and release. How many guys can we reel in one night and release? Makes for very funny stories the morning after, but I wouldn't suggest that.
Because my divorce is so recent, the dating thing is still a little bit that's something that's in the future, and I've been thinking about how that might look.
Can you even imagine going on a date right now?
I think I'm starting to be able to imagine it, and that it wouldn't feel so much like a betrayal or so wrong. I mean, I was married for 22 years.
You seem uncomfortable just talking about it.
Right?
It's just like not a part of your vocabulary.
I think there's a question here, and that is, do you just jump in and take the plunge, or do you ease into it, or does that
I don't think you do something that you're not comfortable with. I think you'll know when you're ready, if you meet the right person, or you might wake up one morning and you're ready.
Dave, anything really surprisingly good that came out of this situation for you?
I think everybody makes a lot of mistakes in relationships, and I do think probably looking back, in our case, we probably could have fixed them if I knew then what I know now. You were asking about the dating thing before. It's very interesting. One of the things that I learned is there's a bunch of things that might have bothered you about your spouse that turn out just to be endemic to the species. So you start to, adapt. So I genuinely think I'm a way better partner this time. I think I'm more proactive and more thoughtful, and you might have to ask my fiance. She may disagree with all of that, but she doesn't know what the baseline was, so that's.
Kimberly, what about you? Is there something surprising that came out of this that you never expected when everything seemed like doom and gloom?
That I'm okay. I think in the beginning, the scariest part of going through a separation or a divorce or a loss like that is, the questions are, am I going to be okay? Am I ever going to be me again? Am I going to be able to find myself? And I've found that everything works out in the end, you know, and I am okay.
Have any of you gone through that stage where you just feel really sorry for yourself?
There's always an outside element of, why did this happen to me? And what I eventually got to was an idea that, you know, of all the things that could have happened to me, maybe this one's not the worst.
So as we talk about moving on, has it helped you to talk to your friends about it?
It was comforting for me to be able to just vent to certain friends who were going through the process, because I know that they understand what I'm going through. And just to merely get everything out and not hold it in was huge for me.
It's maybe been some of the best advice I've been given in this process. It is create the life that you want for yourself, even without a partner.
Dave, Kimberly, Sheila, thank you for sharing your stories. Hopefully you've learned something. I know I have, and I hope you do too, because at X Connection we really believe in the power of peer support and learning from each other as we move on from our relationships.